Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. So we're doing live analysis here on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Live trading with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Scott Pulcini, a futures trader, Thursday, all at 10 a.m. Let's go through the risk disclosures, and then we're going to jump right into the markets here. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's jump right in here. Let's take a look. S&P E-mini off to a nice move to the upside here. 930 cash open, as you guys can see, tore right through 4400, the figure, also 4410, just trading up here to 4425 right now. Let's just take a quick look at it and see what's going on in here with the order flow. The buying icebergs underneath here, so they're on the bid and starting to wane maybe a little bit. Nice cluster of buying up here. And what about this cluster up here? Not bad, not bad. They did trade into these guys. It already transacted with 44.25 and it traded. Okay, so looks like we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. We're still in a pretty nice uptrend though. Let's just put some lines on this here and just get an idea of price structure and a diagonal structure at that. All right, so hold on a minute here. I'm going to make sure YouTube is all good. Okay, should be good. All good. Okay, should be good. Yeah, we're all good. Okay. Yeah, good morning, guys. All right, let's continue on here and take a look at this S&P. We'll jump around like we did yesterday. We'll look at some more stocks. There's been a lot of requests for looking at stocks, so we're going to do that. Also crypto when there's requests for that. Let's see if we can get some buyers up here in this top of this range here. It's starting to auction out up here a little bit, but no, not quite yet, as you can see. I mean, all right, so seller's going to drop it down, and bottom of this range, you can see it's starting to play with these trend lines in here, but this is still bullish here. Okay, this is the beginning of where we might see a potential pullback or deeper pullback, I should say. But look at the structure here, and this will keep you out of so many of these trades of going short in some of these areas here and then getting squeezed like this right now. We should see a stop run here to the upside and maybe get up into this 44.30 up here. All right, so yeah, pretty wicked little move here actually. Sellers hit the bid. Here's our stop run already. Up into 27, and then they throw a bunch of orders right underneath it here to support it at 24. Okay, this is kind of, it's not a book flip here, but it's kind of like it in essence to throw a bunch of demand right underneath where it broke out from here and trap anyone that sold in here. Okay, this is kind of stuff that happens all day long. We need to be aware of it. This kind of insight for us is tremendous. Okay, so we're still finding buyers in here. They're still trying to squeeze higher here, but back to just to 27 here. Okay, so nothing shaken yet. In fact, yeah, buyers in control on these smaller moves here. But let's see if we can get maybe a bit more. Here we go. All right, buyers, looking for you to take it up higher here, 28 and 30. And we're getting a pullback. Okay, but it's auctioning off up here. Okay, that's good. So we can get a pullback. This is classic S&P. Okay, rotational. And let's see if we can get back up to 27 and get our breakout here. We have some exhaustion here on the sell side. Okay, so that's good. Let's see if the bid shows a little bit more here. And then we have something higher probability. Okay, no, nothing yet. In fact, their sellers are starting to show at the bottom edge here. All right, let's see if we get buyers back up here around 26.25. There they are. All right, buyers, let's see, lift it here, 28. Let's see if we can get to 28. Still auctioning off up here. That's good. And buyers can't seem to do it. Still looking for, there they are. All right, so buyers, now they broke the high as well. They should be able to get to 28 and then I think 30 here. Let's look for it. No, not yet. Not yet. This is back to classic S&P activity here. Just classic. This is why we went over to NASDAQ for several months, almost years basically. It's just these rotations, and then finally you get what you're looking for. Let's see it. Let's see it, buyers up here. The bid looks good. We got that at our back here. This is even better now. Looking for the breakout. There it is. And we want to see it go through 28 and up to 30 here. See how the order book gave us that insight here? We didn't have that over here. It was dark. There's maybe a little bit underneath here. Even here, it's dark. I mean, there's maybe a little bit down here, but that's pretty far away. Compare that to this. Okay, do you guys see the distinction? And it leads to this. So there's our 30. Okay, we're just shy of it, right? Didn't quite get to 30. One tick away. There it is. There's 30. All right, and let's see, where else can it go here? Still get higher. Yeah, it still can go higher here. We're still finding buyers here. Trend is still intact here. Nice cluster. Even the profile starting to show a bit of a cluster here. There we go. A little bit higher, 31. Okay, 30. The liquidity is up here, 34 basically, 35. Now let me get to some questions here. Look like there's some questions about what we're discussing here. Let me take a quick look here. Good morning, Leonard. Been watching the webinars after work. Can you explain how a trap looks if you see some today? Okay. Yeah, I mean, this actually had a potential for a trap as well. As you guys can see, though, we notice the buying pressure. There's a distinction, but and this is good. It's a really good question, Leonard. Thanks for asking. Here is what we're looking at. Yesterday, we started to talk about where the volume is trading, and let me show the video here. Hold on, the recording. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about it. All right, so here it is here from yesterday, and it's the title here. I entitled it volume clusters versus directional volume. All right, so let's go over this and just review, because this is it. I thought it was really good it will help you, I think, tremendously, and start to understand distinctions in here of volume and probabilities, or more likelihood, by understanding the likelihood of the move following through, by understanding the order flow within it. Okay, so here we have a volume cluster. Okay, if it made it up to our 28, we were looking for that move to 28 3 or 4 times. It finally did it, and mentioned that's classic kind of S&P, which it is. Now here's what we were covering, is like, you get, where is that volume trading? It's trading up here. All right, so that's good, but it would be better if it was consistent, and we saw consistent buying all the way through. Okay, like this over here isn't bad. That's why we were looking for this move higher. They started buying here and it was pretty consistent, but it kind of, petered out up here. Okay, it kind of ran out of some steam, and then we saw another move up here. Great. Now there's even more volume up here. This is looking really good that it should come up, or more likely, still getting in the habit here of more likely to come up to 28 and 30 at this point here. It didn't. Had to rotate more. Another cluster up here. Okay, now that directional move and strong volume and consistent volume is much more telling that the move will likely continue, because they're moving it away with a lot of volume and a lot of pressure to another area. Here you have the possibility, like a cluster like this, you have the possibility for sellers to come in down below it here, below the buying cluster, back in this previous range here. And let me get my pen out. And it's going to be a little confusing with all these rectangles. No, I want to keep it, but I want to edit. All right, so anyway, you have this bigger bigger range here, and we have this cluster up here. Okay, so now it's possible that sellers can come in below this cluster here, and we see big red dots in here. Okay, when we start to see stuff like that, looking for that either the first point would be the point of control, which would be this here. Okay, to retest the point of control in here. It could still bounce off that and go higher. A lot of times you'll see the sellers come in and then start to sell below that point of control. Sometimes that happens too, and it still goes higher. Okay, but a lot of times that's where they're done, right? And you'll get the sellers come in and they're going to drive it back down to the bottom of this range here. Okay, at that point we're looking for another cluster. Okay, another cluster kind of like this one here. Okay, but sellers. Okay, because we're still bullish here, and we get a sell cluster down here. And now they can be upended. Usually you will see a stop run right in this area here. And now we have new sellers or people getting stopped out. And if we can come back up at that point, up to these highs up here, okay, and back into the range, then we're looking for the stop run over on this side here, okay, with buyers. All right. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions on that. It looks more complex in the drawing than it actually is. It's actually pretty straightforward stuff. I mean, like, look for where the volume is trading, and know that they can be trapped. If you get the scenario here that the sellers come in. Now, what was different in this one here was we didn't get any sellers down here. We got more buyers up here. Great. We're looking for 30. Okay, and then we noted up here, well, now they're starting to move it away, and we're still in the trend. We're looking for maybe the top of our range here that we drew here with our diagonal line back here. Okay, it went right to it. Okay, so that's where I think you can get a lot of insight on these clusters, volume clusters. Where are they trading, and how they can be upended. Okay, big difference in here. Here's another cluster here, and then you can see that yeah, sellers came in and just went just below it here. This is strong buying for this breakout here, and they came back and retested it right here. All right, so a lot of different kind of things to well, just one difference here to look at. Where is that volume trading within the range and understanding these clusters here? Okay, so even here now I know I kind of took a quick look at price. I know we pulled back. This is going to be the critical cluster here. Okay, about around 28 or so. 28 and a half or so. Okay, because there's all this buying up here. Where if they get upended, where would be the first point to come back to? What do you guys feel? $25, $26. Okay, why Alec? That's right, POC. That's the first point. Okay, this the POC of this little and it doesn't have to. It could be the POC in general. It doesn't have to be. It can be. It's just for this range here. Okay, and where buyers took control here, are they still going to be in control off the top of this range? Okay, so that's what we'd be looking for, is the pullback to here. Also, some of these little areas in here, this is a low volume node, but this is where they kind of broke out from. So yeah, I mean, maybe 28, but also here 27 and a half, and then looking to see if we get buyer support in there, back to move on up higher to 40. All right, so anyway, now let's go forward and let's take a look here. Okay, what happened? All right, so it came back down to about, well, just like Alec had said, and point of control. Buyers came in and supported it. Okay, we're not making this stuff up. It's just where the buyers and sellers are, and in previous significant transactions took place. And we're back up, and look where the sellers came in here, and we come back and retest here. Okay, actually, looks like we retested. Let's just zoom vertically here. Looks like we retested the kind of main or kind of POC of that range right there, right to it. Okay, right to it. And then we see that sellers are back in here. Okay, so anyway, if we got through that point of control, then we'd be looking for, and when we saw those sellers down here, we'd be looking for lower low. Okay, likely below this range for sure. We'd be looking for that, and then maybe down into some of these other ranges here, other areas. Yeah, great, Alec. Great to hear. Let's see. And lots of YouTube questions here, so hold on. Let me get back to it. But thank you. Geez, lots of questions in here. Leonard, you kicked that whole thing off, and that was great. It was a great review, and starting to understand these clusters. Again, look at the okay, so this is pretty strong selling and pretty consistent selling in here, but there's also kind of a weight down here, as you can see the kind of, just look at the bars and look at the dots, and you can see it kind of weighted here, right? Can everyone see that? Well, if I just take this across, that's where we retested and bounced. All right, so these guys are basically, feeling the squeeze, feeling the trap in here. It's coming back to them, and they probably bought it back. All right, if that's the case, do we get buyers here? Let's see if we get buyers here again at 30, and then we're looking for top of the range, 31 3/4, 32. All right, as well as the other thing that we were looking at in here, which was very insightful is the heat map, and it was this here that really helped us. I mean, when you have these things aligned, it's just trading is or the follow through is seems much higher. Okay, where we are looking for it here, we're looking for it here, looking for it here. It kept rotating. In fact, it even tested to where these guys broke out from, and then we're looking for it again. But then once we started to see this, oh, this looks good, looking for our buyers, looking for back up to the high, looking for the breakout, and then that played out pretty nicely. All right, up to areas of high liquidity up here around 35. All right, so that was let's say somewhere around 20, let's just call it 27 on up to about 35. So that's a nice little 8-point S&P move there, and I think pretty nicely telegraphed here in the order flow. All right, so I'm sorry guys, let me get to more of these questions here. Okay, Alan, you want to take a look at Twitter? We know where Twitter in detail. Yesterday. Yeah, this is from Rhythmic, Jose. You can see it down here. Okay, and Rhythmic is, you can get it from the Bookmap marketplace. It is high quality data that offers market by order data, which allows us to see, well, with our indicator package, our MBO bundle. Let me just show you on the marketplace. Let's just go there. Yeah, okay. So here at the Bookmap marketplace, you'll see it in here. Rhythmic right here, you can get it $39. It's from Rhythmic, not from us. It's from the Bookmap marketplace. These are for third-party vendors. And then you'll need to get this one. This one actually is from us, but we're a vendor in here as well. So if that's what you want, you can get just Rhythmic data. You don't have to get the MBO, but if you want insight to the MBO bundle of indicators that give stops and icebergs, then you will need it. Here we can see that relationship between stops and icebergs. Okay, on chart as well as on the sub chart here. All right, answered that question. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we still look at the NASDAQ too. Clear as mud. Ben, really? Is it really that unclear? The concepts are very simple. What's my personal favorite setup? I mean, I really like the low volume pullback. I like some of the patterns. I mean, I also like volume profile. I use a little bit of the volume profile as well. But you know, I like to look at some of these patterns and just start to understand, guys, this is looking great again, looking for 40 here, looking for 40. And we have this is where the stops and icebergs can give you a really good feel. You know, we see 400 here basically. They're on the bid. They're even buying at a higher area here. Okay, and this is a pretty strong move here. So looking for leg one, a pullback, maybe a pullback all the way back down here to 34 again, which just unfolded. Okay, and now I'm looking for buyers to support it. So careful on this. This could be a move back down to 30 here, a false breakout. Okay, see how the sellers are starting to build some volume down here. Okay, so we need to be kind of careful on this one. This is a good move from 34 to 37. It's about three S&P points. The volume is strong and good in here though, on the breakout. So this is, in essence, this too is a low volume pullback here. Okay, even though I don't really like it as a low volume pullback setup, because I'm seeing a cluster of sellers down here. Okay, now if the buyers can snatch it away quickly like they're doing, okay, and this is to be anticipated that they would snatch it away very quickly here, because that sets the hook, right? Just like in fishing or something. These guys are on the hook now, and it pulls away from them, and now they're fearful, because if it comes back here, let's see if they start to buy again. Okay, and then let's see if we get buyers up here at 35.5 for a move back up to the high, and then maybe 40. All right, so that's what we would be looking at here for that hook that's set here. Okay, let's see if we get our buyers back up here. Jose, the Rhythmic is getting it. Rhythmic is the data provider. They're getting it from the exchange. The blue line down here is, these are iceberg transactions. The red line is stops. Okay, see the hook. See how look where it came and retested here. Okay, just understanding this dynamic, that we were looking, we didn't like this as a low volume pullback because of the cluster down here. Well, it's actually what's happening here now is they're trapped, and the hook is set here. Pull it away quickly on big volume. Okay, it's kind of shock and awe here. These people are like, oh no, what am I going to do now? Right? And then a pullback, that was the first barrage of buying. The pullback comes back to close to them, close to this area here. This is so typical. You'll see it so many times over and over and over again. And then likely some of these guys are going to be already creating, they're going to be buyers down. These sellers here are going to be buyers in here, because at least it kind of came close to break even. Okay, and if they didn't, then this is them getting stopped out, and here's our stop run here. Okay, and we know that 71 contracts here are stops, and here's a dynamic between stops and icebergs as well. Okay, there's icebergs on the other side here, not a whole lot, 75 or so. It's not much for the S&P. Okay, bidding up here. Okay, see how again, like pull away, and this is what we saw. We saw another example of this earlier, of pull away and then throw in a whole bunch of liquidity right underneath, and it's one player here, 500, probably around 500 or so contracts, maybe a bit less, and now he's showing high demand at this low here, or this kind of swing, or where it broke out from. So that means everyone else down below here is basically trapped, and they're going to get squeezed, and here's our squeeze unfolding right now. Okay, up into high liquidity at 40. Okay, so we just went through, it's actually pretty simple stuff, but we're really starting to understand why price moves. It's people on the hook, or more buyers come in and moving price away, strong buying, moving it away from a previous value area, establishing a new value area, etc. So you can start to understand like the relationship here. Also larger players Smaller players getting stopped out, larger players absorbing as much as they can. Okay, so this is an important area here at 40 because you can see the liquidity up here. However, look at how there's some people front running here. All right, so we may this might be, we might get some back and forth in here now. All right, so we're open to that because and if that's the case, then this is where you can use the order flow for trade management, and you consider taking some profit here. Because look, there's high liquidity at a lower level here. Okay, if they really thought it was going higher, why wouldn't they put it behind 40? And these guys would likely pull at 40 and then move it higher as well. Jose, like a direct exchange, I mean, you've got to go through this whole process with the for the data, with the FCMs and the introducing brokers, etc. This is how they disseminate the data and the brokerage services. So that's the way it's set up with futures. So reach out to your broker or reach out to a broker and ask them about some of that. But you can get the data right from that Bookmap marketplace directly from Rhythmic, or you can reach out to a broker and say, do you offer Rhythmic? I would like to use it. And you'll get the details. Yeah, you can trade right from Bookmap, Ben, no problem. So in fact, you can trade off of the chart or off of a dome. It will work with Ninja. It's depreciated the connection with Ninja, but we've connected for years to Ninja. Okay, the issue is that now you're going through another platform. The data first goes into Ninja, and then it will spit it out into Bookmap. Okay, so we prefer it if you connect directly to the data provider instead of through another platform. Okay. Techie girl, beautiful, very easy to understand. Okay, good. I mean, these now what I want to cover though, like and you've been watching these recaps of prior days of my streams on YouTube and the weekends, and highly recommend it. Yeah, it makes you better prepared for the week. That's great. I mean, like, and now what you can see, or what I'm covering here, is order flow in general. And this is our education. There are setups, there are many different ways to trade, but once you understand some of these concepts, you can apply it to anything. And that's why we're going over this. Understand some of these concepts, and if you want to look at trend lines like we are here, and a little bit of volume profile as well, a little bit, you can look at candlesticks. We can go through candlesticks and ranges. We can go through just order flow and price activity here with CVD only. It doesn't really matter. This is where once you start to understand some of these concepts, it's applicable to anything. And that's why we're going over it. That's why I'm not trying to dodge the question of different ways of trading. Okay, because understand these things first. In fact, stop reading books. Stop looking at all these kind of crazy or all these setups that we've all known for years. about Loco, you look for the MACD crossover, you get here, you get in here, you know, whatever it might be. Instead, understand some of these dynamics here with really what's going on and what makes the market move. That's going to be lacking from those other setups or books, etc. And it's not because, well, you know, maybe they want to just sell books, but it's just that they didn't have access to this kind of data before. So you know, I don't really blame them. They just didn't have it. Like, you know, if you look at your market delta charts, this is what you're looking at. You don't even have it's more like aggregated data on a candlestick, and these volume dots that you see in here, you don't even have the relationship between the structure and volume. You're looking at a candlestick chart here, and you're looking at where the volume is trading. And let me just kind of try to mimic it here. You're not even looking at, you're just looking at current best bid and offer. That's it. But you don't, the relationship that you have is by numeric values on the volume dots, or I'm sorry, with the volume here. So what you're looking at in a market delta chart is, yeah, you might be looking at delta down here somewhere with the bars and the data, but just all it does is aggregate the data all up and tell you the delta. And that's it. And then here you'll see, like, and I like very much the way that market delta and footprint charts show you the volume of on the bid side and on the offer side, and there is that context there. That's good. However, it's aggregated though. In this case, it's a 1 minute chart, and you will not see any sort of like a kind of relationship or pattern down here at all, because you're just going to see it on this bar. And then you're gonna see the you know, the very precise volume on this side, and then also on this side here. Okay, and that's good. It's not bad. It gives more insight here. However, let's take a look at where. Now let's not even go there. Go here, and best bid and offer. Okay, and starting to understand the context of the volume within the way the price is behaving down here, not by a bar, but by truly what's happening down here. Okay, sellers coming in, sellers, a bit of selling here pulls it away on the hook. We just covered that in a different area here. Here it is again. Sellers are trapped here. And look at the pullbacks. It comes back and just tests to them. In this case, it allows them a little bit of an out here. Here, nothing, no out. Here, they're getting stopped out, and we can verify it. We'll know for sure. Here it is. Here's our stop run. Okay, so once we start, and it's even better here, you know, our stop run. Okay, but we can understand this dynamic here. That's going to be a lot more insightful and lead to these kinds of moves when you start to understand these things down here that can be used for anything. Let's suppose this is a low volume node down here. Okay, it's not. In fact, this is kind of indicative trending environment here, and now we're through 40. Okay, we were looking for 40 as being a target earlier. Okay, this was the fuel to help this move higher. Okay, and that's the concept in here. Okay, so now let's look at CVD, and we can look at a setup for CVD in here. Okay, well, here's a low, kind of an equal low here. What about CVD? That's a little bit lower low. I mean, a little bit of divergence, not much. Yeah, not too much insight from CVD down here. If we zoom in a little bit more, maybe we get a little bit better insight. Yeah, here's more selling, kind of making an equal low, but it's making a higher low here. Okay, well, that's another way to look at the divergence here for maybe trap volume. And now I would assume as well that, see the selling in here, yet they're unable to drop price. So what do you guys think is happening here? Okay, what's the dynamic here? Okay, we haven't put one element back on yet. Yep, I was thinking the same. I'm so bad. Iceberg. What else? To the moon. No. I mean, we're looking for something here. There's sellers there, but why weren't they able to drop it lower? Icebergs is a good answer, potentially. Potential icebergs for sure. Well, let's just put the heat map on. Okay, we should see some absorption in here, and we don't. Okay, I would look for someone on the bid down here to wanting to buy at this area here at 34 and a quarter. Okay, we don't see it. All right, so then if they're not, they're absorbing and with limit buy orders, then I'm looking for the iceberg, and we don't even see that. Okay, that's interesting. Well, anyway, that would be the assumption, because there's some pretty good selling here, yet they failed to drop price, and there's no selling down here, none. Oh, I'm sorry, just one measly contract down here, and that's it, and then it pulls away from that area. All right, point made. Let's move on, and you know, we can take a look here. Nice move into 40 and through it. They're on the bid here. Be careful. We want to be careful up here. We want to see how it's auctioning now up in this area here, and what this price structure starts to look like. Okay, this looks good. Strong buying. Not bad in here, but it's really starting to wane up here. Okay, not as strong. Not bad here. Not very strong up here. Okay, now they might come up again here, and then we might get it, and we'll get a breakout. Okay, back into 44 and 45 here. All right, let's see if we get it. Now, if we don't, and we start to see sellers here at 42 and a half, I'd be looking for them to drop it right back down to 41 and a half, and then maybe 40, 39, and 38. They would have to break the bottom range here. And see, that's the dynamic we're looking for right now, right in here. Okay, let's see if we get our sellers here. Let's see if we get our trap set as well. Now, the trap could be on either side here. In fact, sellers trying to drop it lower, and then now these guys are kind of trapped here. And you see this dynamic back and forth in here. Okay, or these buyers now are trapped. Here's our sellers. Okay, I'd be looking for them to try to drop it down to 41 and a half, or maybe lower here. Okay, well, I got that wrong. In fact, now they could be on the hook here, right? And then there's our stop run. Okay, so yeah, they were on the hook. So yeah, I got caught up in that one. Okay, looking for our sellers in here due to the volume here. Yeah, okay, we're still bullish, still making a higher high, still made a higher high in here as well. However, it's just not as much volume. I'm looking for the retest back down here, and it had the potential here. And this one, you know, you can see what happened. The hook was set for it on these guys here, and pulled away, and then we see our stop run here. All right, so anyway, that's how that one unfolded. Yeah, now how do I mean, like, this is, you know, so I got it wrong. However, let's take a look at this and debrief what we just went through. Well, first off, we're still making higher highs in here structurally and higher lows. That matters. Okay. Then we also look at within this structure where that volume is trading. Okay, and we noted like strong down here, starting to wane here. Okay, strong kind of here, but starting to wane up here, even though it did make a higher high. Starting to see some sellers come in. Okay, get back up here, and we do make an equal. Do we make an equal or higher high in here? Okay, we made a slightly higher high here. I was thinking we'd get our trap set here by these sellers coming in. That's what I was looking for, that scenario. And you can see what happened. It's like a double trap here. Like here's the bait, here's the sellers. Now the buyers come in after these sellers come in, and then they move it higher. Anyway, the concepts are the same. Now, what would help us on this one here, make this higher, more likely that would be looking for the buy side or the sell side? One would be the heat map helping us. Now, we didn't get too much help here in the heat map. And the heat map didn't really light up like earlier, like it did for us underneath here. And they weren't really pulling here. They stayed in the book and transacted. And then, so that would be one thing. Another thing is if we did not make higher highs, okay, and higher lows. In fact, if we kind of broke down below here and then made a lower high here, a lower low and a lower high here, then we saw this and then sellers, you know, we have more likelihood to come back down here again, especially if we see the heat map help us out. All right, so we see that not only is the structure kind of weak, and we know that the volume we were looking at here was kind of weak, and we started to see a lot of sellers on some of the swing lows, and it made a lower low. That would be really helpful in making this more likely to not only retest the bottom of the range, but to break it. Right? Makes sense? So here we go here. Okay, here's our sellers making a lower low and a cluster here. Okay, so a retest maybe back here. Now, I'd be looking for, you know, here right back to here. Okay, and let's see if now let's see if we get just we're just looking for a pullback here. Okay, maybe back up to about 40, maybe 45.5 here. The ones that are on the hook are up here. Okay, the cluster is up here. It's kind of a little bit of a range in here. Another thing to use, you can also use your CVP column here. Let's do this. And right click in it, go to configure, and then we'll choose delta here. And you can also see the trap volume. So here it is up here, right? So where are those guys going to get stopped out? Likely down in this area here. So we'd be looking for that scenario. Probably down in this range here. Okay, first stop is point of control right in here. And then let's see if they can even get through point of control on more selling back down to the low or swing lows here. And we're looking for our stop run here to the downside. Okay, small pullback, lack of buying here. Looking for sellers again down here. Here they come. And let's see our move. Okay, we should be getting our stop run here pretty soon. A little bit lower would be good, right around here, 40 and a half, I guess. Yeah, we're still looking for 40.5 here. All right, let me get back to YouTube. Yeah, sure. Robert, you can set an alert, no problem. Ben, how do you usually trade? What kind of strategies do you use? What kind of setups do you use? The question is, Ben is asking about what do you recommend for someone starting with Bookmap? All right, William, you want to take a look at Bitcoin or Ethereum? We can do that. There's no dark pools in futures. Oh yeah, okay. I see, Ben. You're answering that. Yeah, but you can see them in stocks in Bookmap. You need MBBO data, National Best Bid and Offer, for that. Okay, did we get our stop run? We didn't even get it. We got down below here and we didn't get it. I'm kind of surprised by that. All right, so let's see if we get some buying off of this low volume node in here. What is the a better term of this area right here, and a low volume node, to understand kind of terminology for order flow? All right, in your opinion, I mean, like this is, all up for in between distributions. Yeah. But yeah, in between distributions, I mean, basically it means rejection. Price rejected that area. It didn't auction in that area, and that's why it's a low volume node. Sorensen, I went through in detail some of the clustering or understanding the volume in some of those areas. I don't know if that if I answered your questions there. If you still had more, let me know. What are bergs considered, though? Isn't it the same as dark pool? No, it's a completely different thing, Alec. An iceberg is like basically kind of over the counter transaction. It is recorded in the exchanges, but it was not it was not in the order book. It was not in the auction. The transaction was recorded, and that's why you'll see, like, well, here's best bid and offer. Let's see if we can find one. Here's best bid and offer here, but you'll see the transaction just, on a potentially could happen anywhere. It might happen way up here. Huge transaction, like 1 million shares will transact up here. Something like that, or several thousands at least. Yeah, very different. And that's not possible in the S&P. S&P, I mean, the CME or the futures are great. I mean, they're very transparent and more accurate in that regard. Okay, and for those of you, iceberg order is a hidden order. It's not really in the order, but look at this buying coming in. My God, ton of buying here. So there's our rejection. It even went a little bit lower here, and the buyers come in pretty strong. So yeah, let's get back up into these sellers here. So we didn't even get a stop run in here. So what do you guys think? Like in this kind of order flow, in this structure in here, the question is, what do you think? Are there still buyers in here, or are the buyers all gone? Still buyers, still there, exactly. We're just not seeing, we're not seeing a stop run yet. Stop runs are happening to the upside still. So they're still in it. Okay, so that's another thing to take a look for. I mean, we were anticipating that stop run right around in this area here, and we didn't get it. In fact, it came all the way down here where this buying kind of cluster, big buying cluster kind of began. I thought we'd see some rejection here and then the move higher. Instead, that was more like the kind of setting the trap here. Again, and here's kind of why, and we see this, we can see the stop run up here. Here's kind of why. Here's our cluster, and then look at the pullback. Okay, these guys are on the hook. Right, and then we can verify that though here, because here's the stop run and here's the stop run. So, and that I mean, I'm still assuming that these guys are on the hook. I mean, there's a stop run for them too, kind of dribbling away here, but like they're kind of on the hook. But look at the pullback though, and then verifying it with a stop run on the other side. So anyway, kind of again reviewing it, just such an important point, and I think we covered it pretty nicely yesterday. Looking at your range bound trades, even trend trades, and you know, you can look for, if you see that strong consistent buying, that is usually the initial move, or strong consistent selling here. Okay, so now look at, they're letting these guys out here. Right, well, let's see, do we get more sellers down here? Then we're looking for the move lower. Okay? We're looking for, yeah, this liquidity here, which are already pulling. So the next one here is 36. Okay, and then after that, 34. Okay, we should start to see some stops triggered here below this swing here. They're still kind of in it, but this should start to hit the bot, you know, to the downside here. Okay, maybe they need to get that down to this one here. Anyway, what I was covering here are the different ranges. Okay, so let's just let's go through it and just do a little drawing over here. All right, so in your range bound trade, it could be trending too. We'll go through two different examples. Okay, here we use oval. If we get our big volume cluster up here, right, they're kind of on the hook. If we see consistent volume, big volume all the way through, we're looking for, this is a low volume pullback and continuation. Okay, but if we just get the volume up here, okay, especially on maybe a breakout, like maybe just another cluster and just slightly breaks it here, okay, then we're looking for coming down and testing below that swing here and another volume cluster down here. And then these guys, watch, you know, and see if they get on the hook as well, and we get more volume up here. Okay, again, and they're just bashing each other up along the way. Okay, that's a scenario here in range bound trading. It's just one, and you know, because most of the time, to be honest, in the range bound trade, what you're getting is the opposite. But look for this, because then you can look for the move back into point of control and then through it. You know, you look for the move back to the point of control and then maybe the other side of the range, and that's what to look for. You know, or one of the things to look for. Typically, what you see in the range bound trade, the range bound activity, and this makes, you know, perfect sense, is you get exhaustion. You don't get much selling or buying up here. Okay, instead you'll see the big transactions in here, and then maybe, you know, smaller ones up here. And then you know, traders come back into the range, it starts to trade, and not much down here. Okay, it kind of exhausts out, and then you'll start to see, you know, the back and forth, and that's how you get like your shape in your profile. Okay, because most of it's trading right in the middle, and it's exhausting out at some of these areas here, and that's how you get your bell-shaped curve profile. All right, is up here, like there's just not much interest in taking it higher, or it's too expensive for people. Down here, it's a buy down here, but sellers aren't willing to take it lower. All right, they think that it's not worth it. All right, now this whole thing though can be upended as well, and we can look at the trending environment, and you can look at it like this. Let's see if I got a little bit of space. Yeah, we can go back here. In our trend, you can get the order flow. And we're just talking right now, not about the order book, but just about the traded volume. Let's suppose you get that strong initial move down here somewhere, big strong volume, moving this higher. Okay, and then it maybe some exhaustion on this one. Maybe it just kind of peters out and it kind of trades back down here again. But then maybe we get you know, not too much interest here, but we get a stop run, and we get a cluster up here. Right, and you know, a lot of stops triggered or a lot of breakout traders, and then we get a pullback here, and this is your low volume pullback. Okay, you'll see some transactions in here, but you'll see it exhaust out here. There's no interest. In fact, it comes to where those guys were on the hook here, basically, a lot of times, and then instead you'll see yeah, maybe not too much, and then back up above this area here, your buyers pick up, and then up again, and up in that area here, a cluster. So what you see in the trends, and you can see it in today's action, let's just clear all of these drawings, is at higher highs you see more volume typically. Okay, here it is. You know, I mean, more volume here, not too much. More volume here, not too much. More volume in here, a little bit, not too much. More volume up in here. All right, so you'll see it time and again. So understanding these clusters of volume in here can and understanding the order flow can be really helpful. Now that's just the transactions. Okay, well, were they on the bid in here or on the offer in here? Were they getting filled? How much? That's where you're going to start to really understand some of the details in here, because if there's a lot of liquidity in here and they can't get through that area, or you start to see a lot of icebergs, maybe there's still buying pressure. Maybe they can still go a bit higher, but it starts to wane and wane because there's more sellers with limit sell orders and more icebergs than there are buyers up in those areas. Okay, and that's how you get some of these patterns like head and shoulders, double tops, etc. All right, so now that can all be applied to volume profile trading or patterns, plus your indicators if you want. You know, price action and indicators. I know a lot of traders are into that. I'm not really. I just like the using these same order flow concepts on all time frames. You know, and we haven't even looked at our higher time frame here. Okay, well, here it is. Here's the daily. Okay, so here's a move back up to kind of the top of this range, and we see a wick up here on the daily, and we're coming up toward it. This is a strong move here. okay, on this daily. So I'm looking for them to try to trade up here. This is what, 52.5 or so is what I'm showing, somewhere around there. Okay, and then here it is here. Here's the swing, right? And this is where we saw rejection and sellers. Okay, but this is, look at how strong this is. So looking for it to still continue on up into our 52.5 or so. Yeah, here's our 5-minute. We can look at a 15-minute. And same concept here. Okay. And here's our range and our breakout. Beautiful stuff. Where do we find buyers before? Well, look at some of these wicks. Yeah, there's actually nothing down here. I'm surprised that they didn't buy off of here. I guess they kind of did. It just went a little bit lower. We're seeing our wicks down here, though. And we're seeing a wick up here. But, you know, this move could come all the way. This could be a multi-day move. It could come up into 45.11 or 12. It's possible. Okay, where did it drop from? Up here. And when the wicks are up here. Okay, so like kind of 44.95 on up to about 45.14 or so. All right, and there's our higher time frame analysis. All right, so let's see here. More questions. Is it overbought? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Tom. Like, is this overbought? I mean, it can remain overbought. That doesn't matter. Indicator wise, yeah, I guess it was. At least it went higher, and that made sense. Here's the pullback though, but look at the selling. Okay, there's a divergence there. Okay, I forget which ones are negative and positive divergences, but whatever. I mean, all you need to know is the divergence. You don't need to, you know, the definition doesn't really matter in my opinion. You know, we made here's a swing here, and that was this low over here. Okay, and here is the move here. Now there's more selling according to CVD. Okay, even more selling. Okay, it made a lower low here, but it made a higher low in here compared to this one. So there's our divergence. So what does that mean in here? What do you guys think? What do you think about all of this selling in here? Okay, so a lot of selling, but it's not really quite making the market go lower. All right, well, that would be likely. We should see some absorption in here. And we see a little bit. Okay, but more sellers here. Okay, but price has not made the lower low, but below this swing here. Yeah, that's great, Tom. Yeah, I mean, you can really get a feel for the trading. How do you read the stops and icebergs? Yeah, let's take CVD off. And you know, just more insight to the type of traders, and also on the chart here, you can see precisely where they're trading and the whole evolution of it as well. So Yeah, how to read it or how to use it? Well, I mean, first off, like it depends. Like you'll see Scott, he trades it or uses it very differently. Um, he's got specific setups based on a certain amount that has transacted. And I'm just looking at it kind of in a bigger picture, and I'm looking at even the output here. You can see that the axes do not align. But that's okay. I just need to see the context between the two. So there's a lot of iceberg selling in here now, and people got stopped out up here. Okay, so now the way that we have for all indicators uh, is to use them as a confluence, okay, and not a signal. So we're looking at this area in here, and we see there's a lot of iceberg selling. From here on down, let's see, this was 2472. So, you know, down to so around 600-700 in here. Okay, iceberg selling. All right, well, that's starting to be pretty significant. So maybe a lot of profit taking. And what about the relationship? What about stops? Well, we were covering that one. We were anticipating stops in these areas here, and we didn't really get it. So buyers are still in it. So, you know, so we're still bullish, even in confront of these 700 icebergs here. Okay, so here come our buyers here. Let's see if they can lift it now top of the range here to this previous cluster here. 44.25 and a quarter. Okay, and this is pretty good. So I'm looking for them to try to continue actually. 46. See the strong consistent buying that we're talking about, and then they're on the bid here as well at a higher level. So looking for it to continue. There we go. We're already through 46, looking still for it to continue. Okay, up to 50. We're looking for 50. Okay, see how we can read the buying in here. And that we're getting another nice, beautiful stop run here. Okay, now we came up and made an equal high here. And we're getting a bit of a pullback. Okay, first pullback to the cluster. There it is. Second pullback to where it broke from, here at 44. Okay. There it is. It could even come a little lower. See where the buying came in here at 43. Let's keep an eye out for it. We're almost there. Okay, careful here. Now you can see we're looking for that low volume pullback, and you know, we can see some of the dots and some of the bars in here. It's not quite the low volume. We'd like to see a lot less selling in here for it to be. It's still lower than the buying in here, that's for sure. In fact, we can look at CVD. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're still looking to see if we can get our buyers in here, but the problem is, and we covered this last week or maybe a couple weeks ago, low volume pullback or not, if they're selling down here, they can move this lower, and then it would be kind of like a trap here. We can see a nice move lower. And if this is actually the point of control now, it just moved up from where it was previously. And now if they can get through point of control back down into maybe 40 or lower. Okay, so it's bouncing off of point of control at the moment. All right, and if we can get some buyers up here, 43 and a quarter, I'd be looking for it back up to here in this liquidity here at 46. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we get our buyers here, and let's see if we get the order book to help out as well here, and try to push this. And see these guys, see how they're kind of lined up on in the blue area in here. They're kind of lined up on the offer. We don't want to see that. We want to see this as being pulled. We want to see it kind of dark in here, and we want to see the bid light up instead. Okay, and then we get our green dots in here. You know, we've got something. Then it's easy for those buyers to trade up to 46, and not playing out at all. Okay, so this is where we had, you know, we mentioned it, like we have to be kind of careful down here where it broke out from. Now we're starting to see some stops here. But it's these buyers. Let's see if we get another hook here. Okay, here's our trap volume cluster at the low. Okay, the hook would be set if buyers can get back up above 43 here. I mean, basically above point of control, but I want to see them pull away from point of control here. And they're not. Sellers are taking it lower. Okay, Tom, you're bearish on this. Yeah, I'm not so sure yet. Yeah, I mean, they're sellers are coming in. Still kind of looking to see if we can get back up here and above point of control and see some buyers up here. I mean, basically tested kind of, you know, a little bit below the range here, or below the swing here, but you can see the big cluster here. Okay, and here's our rejection, our low volume node. And we are at the end of the European session here. So a little volatility around this time. Okay, look for our hook here. Let's see. All right, buyers, there they are. Okay, buyers, let's see you try to move it now up to 44 and then 46. Okay, we got the order book helping us out. We've got our buyers here. We've got the hook set. Looking for the squeeze. And we can even pull back, you know, to here. 41 and a half. Okay, there's 44. Still looking for 46. All right, well, anyway, I think made that point pretty nicely about this hook. We've seen a few nice little examples. Let's take a look at some of these other instruments here. Someone wanted to take a look at gold. Let me take a quick look at gold. All right, well, who's in control here and why? What do you guys think? What if just looking at this, we even like bring the heat map down. Who's in control and where? Yeah, sellers. Okay, Leo. Yeah, so you're looking at not just volume profile, but also market profile with your TPOs, time and acceptance, etc. Yeah, sellers here moved it away quickly. Sellers here, also sellers up here. Okay, I don't see it coming back at all right now. In fact, looking for sellers here again, drop it into 1950, maybe lower. Yeah, good liquidity down here. All right, and let's take a look at our Bitcoin. We're going to look at the Bitcoin for, hold on a minute here. Our multi-book product here. Here we go. Okay, this is 5 different exchanges in here. And, you know, you'll see the same ideas here, same concepts on all instruments, basically. Especially Bitcoin, like you'll see these really strong moves, and then it just really kind of peters out, and then it comes all the way back down, and then to the other side as well. You know, don't be duped by it. You know, when you start to see that kind of waning volume up in these areas in here, you know, you're going to get some sellers take it back down into some of these areas. So look for it. Now, this is not doing it. Actually, it's pretty strong and consistent buying all the way through. A little bit of waning up here, just less buying, but then they came back and bought up here again. Okay, so now they're on the hook here, basically, because these buyers failed to make a new high or slightly higher high. But it did auction up here. So let's just see, do we get sellers down here, and are they going to try to get a squeeze going back down into, oh, I don't know, I mean, our high volume node, or liquidity down here at 41,350 looks like. Look at how choppy or algorithmically dominated this market is here. And you know, this all sorts of players in here, very short-term high liquidity scattered all over the place. Okay, you can filter for the heat map, right click on it and filter it. We don't need to look at all of that if we don't want to. Just look at the higher, longer term liquidity. Okay, this should be a little more helpful. Alec, your eyes hurt. Yeah, I mean, it's just, these are very, I mean, you'll see the same order flow phenomenon again and again. It's just like I said, though, like, you know, each market is different. And it makes sense. I mean, start to understand the players, start to understand the timing. They, you know, these markets kind of follow the stock indexes and some of the timings there, but they're open 24/7 all the time. So Leo, with your double distribution and TPOs, etc., and looking for your 4450 target, that's great. I mean, you have very specific target, you know what you're looking for, etc. That's fantastic. Just, you know, this is where the order flow can help you. It will confirm those ideas from your market profile. Or not confirm them. You know, if it doesn't look good, you know, maybe you had that idea, well, 44.50 is the you know, the target here, but you know, you're just not seeing the buyers up in these areas in here. Okay, and you're starting to see clusters of selling coming in, etc. Then, you know, that can be really helpful. Edirtus, yeah, stream is full, but you can go to YouTube. YouTube is unlimited. All right, so we're at our European close here, guys. How about Ethereum? Look at Ethereum. My God, even more so. Look at this algo activity in here. I mean, look at this. Crazy stuff. And see how these algos pull from one and add to the next, right? Whereas up here, pulled, added down here, pulled, added up here. I mean, this is a couple different players in here. I mean, look at these notches, how they just perfectly align, even down here. You'll even see this align on the other side. Let's see. So, you know, they're just following in queuing themselves here. Yeah, I don't see it right now. A lot of times those notches will match up on the other side. All right. Oh, Edirtus, I mean, you can always go over to YouTube. No problem. It looks like some other people are saying keep trying to get in, and some people leave, and you'll get a spot. Waterbrook. Consolidation or a pullback to the area of 44,430 area. Let's see. $44. Oh, okay. Yeah, Leo, you're talking about S&P. Yeah, maybe. I'm still with you on this. I mean, 50's right here. I mean, this is very typical, though. You know, it kind of comes shy of these big numbers. You'll see a lot of profit taking. You'll see people front running these areas in here. You'll see it have to come all the way back down here, get some sellers, and then come all the way back up. And, you know, hours later, it'll trade up here. But yeah, I hear you, Leo. And order flow wise here, there's no reason to believe that it won't trade 50 at this time. In the bigger picture here, because we still see buyers, more buyers, higher highs, higher lows in here. Slightly lower low in here, but you know, we're still back up here, and it's still auctioning on the buy side. So, you know, still looking for 50 to transact. We got the European close. We got a whole bunch of kind of stuff going on here at the moment. Now, we don't want to lose our sight of our bigger picture as well. We're going to start to see a slowdown up here. We're going to start to see sellers up here. The daily wicks, the hourly wicks here. You know, so that makes pretty good sense. But the momentum's been strong, and it's still a green candle up here. So we're still, you know, looking for this to kind of inch higher, back up into these areas here. You're having a great day so far. Excellent, Leo. Right, excellent. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up here. Tom B is back. So don't forget to tune in to Tom B. He'll start shortly, usually between 11:30 and 12, somewhere around there. And Leo, like, he's going to go through exclusively the way that he trades with volume profile and market profile. All right, so for those of you who want to stay on, it's going to be just the S&P, but get a lot of insight for that. Tom has a lot of experience, so you'll get a lot of insight from the way that he looks at the market specifically for the volume and market profile. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for coming, everybody, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. I'll go over the S&P for about 10 or 15 minutes before JTrader comes in, and then we'll look at some stocks with JTrader and do some live trading. Okay? Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Bye-bye.